what's going on? Keith from Trigger Happy. Going to take a look at the Smith & Wesson model 642 here today. 642 is a lot of people's primary carry gun when they don't want to carry a semi-automatic. 38 Special can be pretty snappy in a small frame revolver. This is a J frame, and there's numerous configurations you can get in a J frame. 442, 638, 642, Smith & Wesson Bodyguard are just a few. The 642 is double action only, so the hammer is fully internal here, as you can see. So it's a long, hard trigger pull. You just kind of have to get used to it, and kind of have to get used to the recoil as well. If you're used to shooting a longer barreled revolver, say like a 4-inch or something, this 1 7/8 inch barrel will surprise you. It's still fairly accurate at 7 yards or so. You back out to 15 or 20 yards, you're going to have a really hard time finding your target. So this is kind of a really close quarters type of weapon. Pretty small grips here. You can replace these panels here to give you a little different feel on the grip, but I like the standard ones. They're pretty narrow, easy to fit into a pocket. So we'll take a few shots here with it, and you can kind of see here that there's some recoil to it, but it's relatively accurate. We're going to shoot about 6 or 7 yards here. So load up 5 rounds. As I mentioned, or I did not mention earlier, it's a 5-round capacity, and there is not a 6-rounder in the J frame size. So you're always going to be dealing with 5 rounds. So you do give up some capacity over a semi-automatic going to a revolver, but the reliability of the revolver kind of trumps that in some other way. So take a few shots here. Yeah, so you can see, I mean, I pretty well took the center out of the target there. At 7 yards here, it's a pretty accurate little gun. You move on back, and like I said earlier, the barrel just does not give you the capabilities to be shooting from a long distance. So, but at this distance, you know, if you can line up your shots, you can be pretty accurate. We'll take a few more here shortly in quick succession. You can see you kind of lose a lot of that accuracy when you're shooting pretty quickly, but it still functions quite well. Alright, so we're going to take a few quick shots here. And you can see that you lose a lot of the accuracy when you're shooting fast, but then again, it's kind of what you expect out of this handgun. I'll try to do my best here. I'm gonna aim for the lower portion of the target, and we're gonna shoot it pretty quickly, like you would maybe be in a defensive situation. Not as much time to line it up. You're just kind of pulling as fast as you can, and that's what we're gonna do here. So I got 1 round on the target there where I was aiming, so you can see I was pulling it off to the right. So if you think you're going to get off quick shots and be accurate with these guns, it takes a lot of practice and a lot of time. So 5 rounds, pulled off pretty quickly, and I can see there's 4 on the total on the paper, and 2 of them hit him in the shoulder. So didn't do too well on that one, but that's kind of what I was expecting out of this small gun, shooting it pretty fast. So we'll head on to the tabletop review and give you some more of our thoughts on this little 642. Well, you got through the early part, and if you're still with me, you're still kind of interested in why I like the revolver and what I think it brings to the table. The J frame has been around for a long time. It's a proven design, and you'll find there's a lot of models, and I mentioned a few of them on the range of the J frame style. Pretty much the only difference would be barrel length, grip length, and then the type of hammer design you have here. Some people call this a hammerless. It's not hammerless. There is an internal hammer. It's just completely covered up. Some have the traditional exposed hammer for single action shots. Some models, the 638 comes to mind, has a shrouded hammer, so it still can be pulled into single action, but it's a snag free design, so you're not going to inadvertently pull it while carrying it. And then the 642 here is a completely covered hammer design. I prefer this one because of the long double action pull. It is a hard, and again, safety checked here. It is a long and hard pull, and you'll see here, you know, it pulls pretty hard. Now, staging this trigger is easier than you would think. If you want to make precise shots, and again, we're not talking about a defensive situation. We're talking about we're out playing around, we're practicing, whatever. This trigger can be staged, and I probably should do it right-handed since I do shoot right-handed. You can stage it, and see, I've got it here in what's essentially become a single action pull. And it's very easy to do. It's an excellent trigger, and I really like it. With the J-frame, and particularly this airweight design, you're talking about a gun that comes in at about 15 ounces, which to me is fantastic. It's a super easy carry. I mean, here's a cheapo pocket holster, and it fits right in there. And it's an easy pocket carry because it's so light, and it's relatively compact. I mean, is it bigger than a Ruger LCP? Yes, it's a little wider as well. But it's still an easy carry in shorts, jeans, whatever, dress clothes. What you give up on the J-frame is huge, and so you need to keep that in mind if you're talking about carrying a revolver. You're giving up two critical things. Capacity, you're talking about 5 rounds versus 6, 7, 8, maybe 9 rounds of 9mm if you're carrying most, you know, common models of concealed carry semi-automatics. So you're giving up a lot of capacity. You're also giving up the ability to reload quickly. And I've seen a lot of people that are absolute experts at reloading revolvers and can do it very quickly with, you know, moon clips or speed loaders or whatever, or just by hand. Most people, and myself included, are not that good that could reload this gun under stress quickly. So you need to keep that in mind. You know, I showed you out on the range shooting this gun fast, and it can be done, but to do it accurately takes a lot of practice. And when your heart's beating, you're stressed, you're scared, you're running for your life, whatever, making precise shots quickly is difficult with these revolvers. And the reason being is because they are snappy. There's some felt recoil there. So if you think this is going to handle like a 22 or, you know, a long-barreled revolver, maybe you're used to shooting a 686 with a 6-inch barrel, you know, that feels like nothing. These have some snappiness to them. So for lady shooters, for people with weaker hands, new shooters, whatever, you might be surprised that there is some snappiness here. It can be handled, it's not painful, and it can easily be soaked up with changing these grips, and you can cover up this back strap with different grips. You know, Hogue makes some stuff that'll cover that up and take out a little bit of that bite. But, you know, something you gotta get used to. When I shot it quickly, you know, I got 5 shots off, 4 were on paper, only 1 was really a center mass shot, and that was the first shot I made. 1 was completely off the paper, and then a couple were in the shoulder area on the silhouette target, and that was from close range. I mean, I was at about 6 yards when I made those shots, so not far away. As you move back, this gun is more difficult to shoot precisely. Reason being, 1 is the short barrel, 2 is these sights. You've got kind of a front blade design, and then these very, you know, low profile milled in sights into the receiver. So it does make it a little more difficult to make distance shots. It can be done, but, you know, it's something to take into account. The plus side of these revolvers, you know, we talked about capacity, we talked about reloading, but on the plus side, you've got weight, you've got reliability, and those are huge. I don't want to say a revolver is 100% reliable, but over my years of shooting, it's kind of translated out to be that. I've never had a misfire, a jam, a problem with a quality built revolver ever. It fires every time I pull the trigger. And when you're talking about, you know, saving your life or the life of your family, that is a big deal. So, you know, if you want absolute reliability, the J-frame design is right there for that. The other thing you have to take into account, the J-frame, you know, this model 642 will handle plus P ammunition. So my everyday carry ammo in this is Hornady 110 grain, critical duty, plus P ammunition. So it has relatively good stopping power with the plus P, but keep that in mind, it's not a more modern type of round. So if you're expecting the power, the velocity, or whatever you're going to get out of a 40 caliber, a 9mm, whatever, it's not quite on par with those rounds. Now, is it better than a 380? Yes, it is better than a 380, but this is not, you know, plus P is not a 357. So don't kid yourself into thinking that you're carrying, you know, essentially what's a 357 Magnum. It's not even in the neighborhood of a 357. So you're kind of on a 9mm standard pressure, more or less. You know, this gun can be found for a shade over $400, sometimes less. Resale on these is relatively high. A lot of times if you're looking for a pocket carry revolver, the Ruger LCR can be found for less than any of these J-frames. But, you know, these are a fantastic design. So if you're thinking about a revolver, I hope I shed a little bit of light onto, you know, the pluses and minuses of it. A lot of people write off revolvers as they're antiquated. They don't have a place in, you know, the modern firearm world. Why would you want to carry these? You know, I think they're wrong, and I think this has a huge place in the concealed carry world. And, you know, if you're interested in a revolver, get your hands on a J-frame and check it out. I think you'll be very pleased in what you find there. So thanks again for watching. It's Keith from Trigger Happy. We'll see you next time.